Hello, Lori Elke here. Today I am doing a project that uses oil pastels, blending, some leaf shapes, and some cool mark making to create this fall leaf project, okay? This could be something like a leaf either blowing in the wind, or it could be a leaf floating in the water. Either way you want to look at it. But I used oil pastels to do some cool blending on the leaf using warm colors. And then I used some nice dashed lines on the sky or water with some white and some blue to give that either wind or ripple effect. So try this out, follow along, and have fun creating this cool fall art project. Thanks for watching. For this project today, I will be using a pencil. I have 2 pieces of square paper, blue and yellow, construction paper. I have some scissors. I will also be using a glue stick. And then I have some oil pastels. I'll be using some warm colors, yellow, orange, and red, and then I'll also be using some white and blue. I'm going to start off with my yellow square paper, and I'm going to make a line that's a diagonal that's almost all the way across my paper. And then at the bottom of the line, I'm going to create part of a rectangle that's open at the top. Then I'm going to make some diagonal lines that go out from my main line that I first started with. I made 2, and then 2 more here, and then 2 more here. Now, if ever I'm going too fast, feel free to pause the video to catch up. All right, now I'm just going to go around these lines with some curves. I go up where there's a line, down in between, up where there's a line, down in between, all the way around to make this look like a nice oak leaf. And there you have it, the end of my pencil drawing. Now I want to go ahead and use some oil pastels. You could also use crayon if you don't have any pastels. And I'm going to go ahead and trace my lines with pastel. Now I'm using a red crayon or red pastel first to get my outline because it's the darkest color that I have in my set today. And I want my lines to be nice and dark along the outside edge. I'm tracing my outside edge, and then I will also go over my lines in the middle with my red pastel as well. Now when I use oil pastels, I want to make sure that I'm pressing nice and hard so that I do get nice rich lines and nice rich coloring. If I press too light, I will see too much of the paper through, okay? And if your pastel does happen to break, no worries, it still writes. You can still use it. All right, now I'm gonna go around with my red still, and I'm gonna try to kind of thicken up my lines. I'm coloring a little bit to make them a little bit fatter so that they're nice and full and dark. I'm going all the way around my edges first, just thickening up my lines, making them a little bit fatter all the way around. I'm still pushing nice and hard with my oil pastels so that I get that nice rich color. And there's lots of different brands of oil pastels. I really like to use Crayola. There's another kind that I really like as well. This kind is okay. It does the job, but I'm going to make sure to go ahead and press hard regardless. I do not use any tools when I am blending oil pastels. I know some people like to use Q-tips or baby oil when they blend oil pastels, but I like to blend just by overlapping colors. So I'm thickening this red up so that when I get to my orange, which is next, I can overlap it with some of this red and get some nice blending. Okay, I've gone all the way around with my red. Now I'm switching to orange. Now I'm going to go right up against my red line, and I'm even going to overlap the colors a little bit. That way my orange and my red will blend together. Notice that my stem is now completely colored in, and that's just fine. And as I'm doing my orange, I'm also pushing nice and hard to get a very rich color on my paper, okay? Now, the reason I chose this yellow paper for my leaf is because it's a warm color, and that way if there is a little bit of paper showing through, that warm color will work really well with our other colors. It also can kind of impact the color that we are using. All of these warm colors are that much brighter on yellow paper than they would be on a blue paper or purple or black. So I like to have that bright yellow behind these colors so that I have a nice warm tint to my coloring. All right, you can see I have now added my orange area on the outside, and then I'm also going to widen up the area on the inside too, where the veins of the leaves would go. So I'm going right next to my red line, even over my red lines in places so that the orange and red can mix and mingle on the paper. It's a great way to blend those colors. Okay, next I have yellow, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with yellow, this time filling in any extra space that is left inside of my leaf. And I'm going to overlap my orange just a little bit so that I get a nice blend from orange to yellow. So I'm overlapping the orange as I work on the yellow, and that way they blend together into the yellow areas. I'm pushing very hard with my yellow as well so I get nice rich color, and you can see just by looking at my one side here that I am doing the difference now that it has that nice blend going on with my oil pastels. Going right over my orange, even into my red in places. Look at the difference from the left to the right. The right has not been done, it's not blended yet. The left has this nice blended look. So even though I have yellow paper, using this yellow pastel and overlapping it into the orange and even the red, it really helped get this nice blended look for my leaf painting, my pastel painting, if you would say. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that. And looking good. Now you can see if there's any spots that are still kind of showing some of the paper through, you can kind of touch those up with pastel, but at this point I'm ready to cut. Now I sped this up a little bit since cutting is pretty self-explanatory, so you can go ahead and just use scissors and cut around your lines to get your nice leaf outline all cut out. I am going to go ahead and do that all the way around, trying to make my nice neat cuts on this leaf. And I will get rid of the extra paper, and my leaf is all ready to go. Okay, put the leaf aside, and now I'm going to focus on my blue paper. Now I'm going to go ahead and start with a white. You don't even have to use white. You could just use light blue and dark blue if you wanted, or blues and purples. I like to use kind of some cool colors on this one. And I'm just going to do a dashed line in a spiral. So I'm kind of starting in the center, and then I'm going around and around and around in a spiral, but I'm picking up my pastel as I do it to make it look like a dashed line. Now, as I said before, this could be great for an indication of wind, or it can look like ripples in the water. Either one works just right for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and fill my paper with these dashed lines that look like wind or ripples in the water. And I'm going to go ahead and try to fill up the space You can either start with the inside of your spirals, or if it's easier, you can start with the outside of your spirals and work your way in. Notice I am adding some tails to mine to make them look like they're all coming from the same direction, but that is optional. You could just do the spirals and let them be there too, okay? Now that I've got a lot on my paper, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to another color, and I'm just gonna make little dashed lines right next to the ones that I already made. This kind of reminds me of Vincent van Gogh's Starry Nights, right? All of those little brush strokes that he used to make these starry swirls in the sky are just like these little marks that we're making with oil pastels. So if you want to be inspired by Starry Nights as you're doing this, please feel free to be inspired. You can see I am just putting this nice light blue line right next to my white line. You could also do a third color and do a dark blue as well, or purple, or even like a bluish green. It would work too, to add even more color and excitement to this water or sky. All right, I think I am happy with how this is looking. So I'm gonna go ahead and decide where I want my leaf to go, okay? Now I have some stick glue here, and I'm gonna go ahead and decide which direction I want my leaf to be. And the leaf is so big that I don't mind if actually part of it's hanging off the paper. It kind of gives it some movement. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put the glue down right where I want my leaf to be. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stick it down to my paper just like that. And if you have some extra areas that are left once your leaf is glued on, maybe some empty areas in the corner, you can always add a couple more dashes to those areas to fill them up. So I've got like an area down here on the bottom corner that's open, so maybe I'll just put like part of a swirl down there. And I still have a couple areas up here on the top, so maybe I'll just put a couple tiny swirls in there, and then again just add my light blue to make it look complete. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed doing this project with me today. I loved blending the oil pastels and then adding these cool swirls to create some movement in the art. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to check back at my channel, Elke Art, for more fun art tutorials. Have a fabulous day, and we'll see you again soon. Bye!